I'm better at other things that I could have made a lot more money or had a more stable career or more safe route. Just music is something I love, and I just wanted to go for it. I was smart about it, I think, in that I had a full-time job and I didn't just quit it all at once. I figured out how can I have a side hustle in music, and how then can I turn up the hours on music and turn down the hours on the job that I need to pay the bills.
Hi, Allie.
Hi, Sonj.
I'm so excited to talk to you. You have such a special place in my life, both as a friend and as a mentor. And I don't know if you remember, but when I got to know you during my very, very first co-write ever, you really changed my beliefs about myself. And having your support has been pivotal for my self-confidence as far as my music goes. And it's just been a really great gift to have you in my life. So I'm really, really excited to talk to you today. And there is so much to talk about. You've been writing songs, touring, performing for over 20 years. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey with your own music and all the other things you're doing as a sideman to Ingrid Michaelson and as a coach? And how did your other music-related work feed into your own songwriting journey? I know it's a big question, but...
Well, first of all, thank you for such kind words. It means so much to me to be able to encourage other people in their artistry the way I have been helped, and also sort of filling in some gaps when there were times when I didn't have that and it would have helped me early in my career. I can't believe I've been doing this for so long. In some ways it feels like a long time, and in other ways it feels like a blip. But that's also sort of how I know that I love it. I love music. And I would say early on in my life, I just loved singing. I didn't know that writing was a thing that I could do because I felt like it wasn't a gift that I had. Partly because I had a few friends in my life who were like poets and story writers, and it just seemed to like flow out of them in a natural way that I didn't have. I had the desire, but I didn't know how to start. And so early on, I really just focused on musicianship, on learning to harmonize, on learning to sing and play instruments. And I joined bands in my teens and my early 20s. And then I started to get an itch of like wanting to write. I mean, I immediately started writing when I picked up the guitar, but they were not really very well crafted songs.
How old were you back then?
Well, the first time I was like 16. I was really, through high school, I was focused on academics and athletics. I was a competitive runner in my teens, and I got injured. So suddenly I had this extra time on my hands, and this is before the internet existed.
Wild.
Yeah. So I had a book, and I borrowed a guitar from my like uncle and learned how to play a Van Morrison song called Brown Eyed Girl, and used those chords to write a few other songs. I put some of my friends' poetry to music, and it sounded pretty, but it definitely was not crafted songs, you know? And oh gosh, so over the years, and I really wished that I had some feedback, some constructive feedback about songwriting. And it just was not even on my radar that I could be an engineer of any sort back then. I wish that was a thing, but at the time you really would have to decide to go to school for that and learn how to do it in like a big studio and make that your whole
Right.
career. And I still really liked the idea of performing more than that.
Right. And now you're full on producing.
I know.
So exciting.
Yeah. And I think that's why even with current clients, I'm always, even if they're voice clients, I'm encouraging them in their musicianship and artistry and to pick up even a little bit of a skill of piano or guitar or like learning to record themselves in their DAW, because it's just a thing that I didn't have that I wish that I had. And I know that it will make them better.
Right. Yeah. But you did get into your music circle then.
Yeah. I would say that was like, I had a band that I was in my, late teens, early 20s. I was just influenced by what they made, and I would sing over top of it, basically. I didn't know how to structure a song myself. And then later, when that band broke up, I moved to Jersey City with my ex, which is right outside New York City. And we decided I'm going to pursue this thing of music. And so I went to a lot of shows, a lot of open mics. This was the beginning of MySpace. And so I was like trying to connect with artists there.
Wow. MySpace.
MySpace was the first social media that I really used.
Yeah.
And MySpace was very focused on music. You would pick songs and put them in your profile. So there were people who like kind of rose to the top, and then charts of like basically MySpace charts, I believe. I can't go back and look, but and then you could find an artist, and then you would have what you called your top 8. So you would like put your friends or the artists you liked in your top 8. And that's what helped me find other artists, as well as notice like who knew each other in real life or in somehow was connected. And so that's when I discovered Jenny Owen Youngs and Bess Rogers and Ingrid Michaelson and Regina Spektor and Gregory and the Hawk.
So did you guys connect on MySpace originally?
Ingrid and me? Yes.
That's so funny.
I actually have like some screenshots before. I guess I deleted or I couldn't access my MySpace. I do have some screenshots of our interactions. She had this song called Die Alone as like the first song that came on, and it has these really hooky harmonies. And I like immediately loved it. And then I realized she was like local. She was from Staten Island, and I was playing a show that was like all female artists. And so I told that promoter, you should check out this girl, Ingrid. I think she'd be good for the show. And so she thanked me for that. And then we met in real life and heard each other play. But at first it was on MySpace.
That's so funny. And all that was before she blew up, right?
Correct. Yeah. Within like 6-8 months, I joined her band, and we also would do these duo gigs where I would back her up and then she would back me up. Because obviously she's very good at harmonizing and playing piano and stuff. And then she got a song on Grey's Anatomy through someone that reached out to her on MySpace. And I remember just going to a show in the next month and couldn't get in the door. And I was like, what is happening? And then realizing, oh, they're all here to see us play.
Wow.
They don't know what she looks like really. So they're like, are you Ingrid? And it sort of took off from there. There was a lot of hard work involved, but it was a pivotal moment of like, okay. And then I think I'm going along for this ride.
Yeah. But tell me more about your own decision to pursue music. So what was it that made you do that?
I don't know if I have an answer for that other than to say that I couldn't not do it.
Yeah.
I'm good at other things. I'm better at other things that I could have made a lot more money or had a more stable career or more safe route. Just music is something I love, and I just wanted to go for it. I was smart about it, I think, in that I had a full-time job and I didn't just quit it all at once. I figured out how can I have a side hustle in music, and how then can I turn up the hours on music and turn down the hours on the job that I need to pay the bills. And to this day, I still would get a job doing it. I've had part-time jobs over the years. Like, I don't want to stress about music being my income. And so I don't think there's any shame in like having a job and also doing music. I always just will do music.
That's just who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've been in it for so long. And I'm curious, has there been any aha moment that you can think of throughout this whole time?
There's actually been many. I think early on, a friend, a mentor said to me basically, Allie, just let your music be what your music is. And I don't know that I understood that at the time exactly, but it did stick with me. And I think what I like gleaned is that I can be influenced by people around me, my favorite artists or even my peers. Yeah. But ultimately, I had to get comfortable with myself, like with deciding what I like and picking a sound and just trying it and going with it and not worrying about what other people thought, but being comfortable with that, like sonically, but also just who I am, that I'm not going to be this other artist. I'm only going to be the best version of myself. And as long as I'm trying to be something else or something that I'm not, it will be harder. And what I would see in my friends is like, they were like themselves on stage, an amped version of themselves. And I didn't necessarily think of myself as funny or like super charismatic. I'm more of a quiet girl with like a big laugh, and I'm awkward, and I think I just have embraced that, and I'm sincere. Like, I have a big sense of humor, but like at the heart of my music is sincerity, and so just sort of like leaning into who I am and what I like, and that has helped me. Because in the beginning, if I get back up and show you what I was like before, it was like before I did that, I would have a song. Not that you can't be different parts of yourself, but I need to try this. I'm going to try a country song. I'm going to try a folk song. I'm going to try a jazz song. I'm going to try, and it was very scattered. It was like, who are you as an artist? There was no consistency in the kind of songs that I wrote. And so I just sort of had to pick a lane, and then I've tried other things. And I think like you could have a side project but I just leaned into myself. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think it's such a huge thing, and it has been for myself too. So I'm really curious if that has changed for yourself over time, like your idea of yourself and the stylistic direction you've chosen.
I think I've discovered that the few things that are steady for me are that like the lyric feels real, like something I would really say, that from my heart, that I have to believe what I'm singing. And that I love like there to be something beautiful about what I make.
Which there always is in your songs. they're like, If you were to describe beautiful, you could show an Allie Moss song.
Thank you. I really love vocal layers. That's a thing that's featured in my music a lot. But I have tried more like synth heavy songs. I've written songs that are like very, very pop. I've tried writing songs that have more like swag or attitude to them. I can use my voice in a lot of different ways, but I feel the most authentic when I write a song that has like a lyric that feels me and just like a hook, a melody person. And then the color around it can change a little bit. But I feel like it's stayed pretty steady, at least what I've released. But I've tried a lot of things behind the scenes that I have not released. And I think that's good.
I'd love to know more about your journey and like for people to know what you're doing now. Because your life is very colorful right now, if I can say that. You're doing a lot of things. You're writing your own music. You're helping other artists write their music and produce their music. You're doing vocal coaching on a really high level. You have your TOTB, Thinking Outside the Blocks community. There's so many more. Wait, there's more, right?
Yeah, I'm developing a harmony course.
You're developing a harmony course. And the one thing that I always admire about you, you're always on top of your exercising and nutrition and like health stuff, which I am so bad with. So, yeah.
I'll say for the record, I don't have children. So
Me neither.
no, but I mean, like, you know, it does make it so that I can structure my life the way I want to. I feel like this ties into your first question, which was like any aha moments. And I think early on in my career, when I had the opportunity to tour with Ingrid and also tour manage at the time. So it would be the first 3 years of touring were primarily duo and trio, and I was tour manager as well. I realized I don't have to be center stage as an artist to have a career in music. And that for me, those things could be parallel. It wasn't all or nothing. And I know that's not for everyone, but for me, I was like, this is freedom. Like I can be around music. I can be doing music. I can be learning about other skill sets and developing myself and get paid to do it or, you know, afford to be able to do it. And, and that to me is better than what I was doing before, which was working in insurance full time. So,
Right. Yeah.
You know, I had skills that allowed me to be a tour manager, you know, and I had to learn a lot though along the way. And then when the time came for me to be able to pass that role off and just be a sideman, I did that. I stepped into that role. This is also sort of parallel at the same time where I found a voice coach that for the first time it made sense to me what they were teaching me about my voice. And I was like, do you think I'd be good at teaching this? And she said yes. And so I felt like that was a better investment. Oh, I'm going to like not only learn how to use my voice better, but I'm going to learn how to help other people. That I'm investing my money doubly, basically, in training.
Yeah.
And there were years where I never stopped training my own voice, but there were some intense touring years with Ingrid where I paused teaching other people voice lessons. I would give sort of like help and tips to friends, but I wasn't teaching formally. And even to this day, I do teach at a very high level. I teach people, beginners to like professionals, but I've been able to make that something that's part-time. I've never had to just teach like, 9 to 5. And I
Right.
think that would take the joy out of teaching for me if I had to do it 100% of the time. It's just a lot of like concentration and editing and singing. And so I love that I can do it, that I feel like I continue to evolve into a better and better coach. And that I get to help people. But again, I've kept it in a compartment in my life that I feel like I retain joy with it. It doesn't become something that I'm like dreading to do.
Yeah, it fuels you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what baffles me about you is, or I guess that's my big question, is how do you balance all of it? And how do you set your boundaries between putting time into your own project and then being so supportive of everybody else? Because you're so generous too.
I don't know that I do balance it very well or as optimally as I could. Although I will say I've gotten way better at doing that over the years. The two things that come to mind are, one, I don't try to do all of them all at the same time. So, for example, I will go through seasons where I'm like, this is my focus. I'm doing all of these other things on maintenance mode. And then I will finish that course or that project. And then I'll be like, okay, now that can go in maintenance mode and I'm going to switch. It is hard to switch certain hats. And then I really try to compartmentalize my time. I try not to task switch too much. So I keep certain days as teaching days, and I keep other days as like writing production days. And I'll fit the client in if that's the only time they can do it sometimes. But it really is like I'm in teacher mode. Okay, that's what I'm focusing on.
Yeah. Do you have some kind of tools that help you facilitate that? I'm thinking of like how I would have my songwriting space here, and then I have my practice space where I practice my vocals and my performing over there. And then I relax and do nothing in that room over there. So it's all kind of like separated. It really helps me. So I'm curious if you have that.
I wish I did. I don't have the luxury of that now, but that is something ideally I would love to have, a studio I go to. And as you can see, I'm in my living room. So that is a goal. I block it out on my calendar. So it's like mentally I do it. And this is a challenge for me when it comes to like, I don't consider myself a workaholic. I have, honestly, this is so ridiculous to say, but I have learned how to relax and shut off in the last 5 years, probably. Before that, I would say I didn't know how. But it also is blurry because the things I do for fun are also the things I do for work.
Right. So, yeah, we've talked about this.
Yeah. It's like I'm done, sending emails and doing admin. Okay, now I get to work on a song and edit drums, but I'm still sitting in the same space. And so to anyone outside of me, it's like, you've just been working all day long.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I did switch though. I get out of the house to exercise. That is something I have purposed to do.
You're so good about that.
I think the thing that makes it easy for me is that it's just built in as a habit at this point. I don't always want to, but I do it anyway. That discipline is just there. I was a child gymnast and then a competitive runner, and it's like I've actually had to work to like be more relaxed in my exercising and listen to my body so I don't hurt myself, and sometimes take a rest day. But exercise is like so good for my mental health first and foremost. I can wake up and feel like the world is ending and then go for a walk or lift or do yoga and be like, okay, I can handle the stress of whatever the day is. It really is mental health first.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't mention one other thing you're part of, which is vocalogy and practice. You're a real voice nerd.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit more about the voice?
Sure.
What is it that fascinates you about it?
I think the voice is the coolest instrument because it's us. So it's like physical, emotional, mental. How you feel and how you are in your body will affect your voice. Like the life experience you have. It just fascinates me as an instrument. And then I really love anatomy. I'm a little bit of a nerd in that way. So early on, what got me into voice was like not understanding why sometimes I could make the sounds I wanted to make. Mm-hmm. Be like, yes, that's it. And then other times it wouldn't come out the same. But I couldn't figure out why. So I wanted to like unravel that. And that's where studying voice has been a tool. Like most singers, I will say, don't know how their voice works. They just do it.
Right.
And they may have figured out a lot of tools and have a lot of sensory biofeedback. So, I mean, it is a hot take. I don't think everyone needs voice lessons, but I will also say almost everyone will benefit from some sort of technique. Especially if you're in it for the long haul, because your body's going to change over time. But like it's like been like a revelation to me to be like, that's why my voice sounds like that. And some parts of it I have to just accept this is the body I have, so that's why it sounds like that. But also I can change these other things to make it easier, have a different tone, like have more power, have more dexterity. Like it's a thing you can practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I really, really got this idea of practicing and kind of equating it with how I would see my athletic practice back when I was, a dancer and a handstand person. And that has been so helpful because it just makes my voice more accessible at all times. If you just check in a little bit every day.
Yeah, singing is athletic. And just like with your body, consistency is more important than intensity or duration.
Uh-huh.
I do wish to bust the myth that I get it. I had a lot of fear around losing like what made me. And my early experiences with voice lessons were that I had to learn a certain genre or sing a certain style of song in order to have technique. And I didn't want to sing Broadway. I didn't want to sing opera. So I get that is a fear, and a lot of people have that experience. But also a lot of people, I think if I learn how to use my voice, if it's not like just naturally coming out of me, then it's not authentic. And that is the myth I want to bust, because you would never say that about an athlete who is like pretty gifted at running or pretty gifted at basketball or diving, or they realize they kind of have a skill in a sport, and then they get a coach and learn technique to be better at it. It's the same thing with your voice. Like you can realize like, this sort of comes naturally to me. This is a thing I want to do, and have technique that's going to help you just make the sounds you want to make more consistently and have more choices and understand your instrument.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Like the thing I learned from you, I think is to connect with the functions. Like to get a sense of the different functions of the voice. And then you can play between those things and create your own style with it. which is super cool.
Yeah. And most people would fall into a certain tendency in their voice. And so that's going to be the part of their voice that's the most developed and strongest and has the most muscle memory. And so it will feel scary or unnatural or, what's the word I'm looking for?
Just like foreign,
or I was going to say unstable when they try to balance it and use their voice with a different function. But if you stick with it over time, you'll actually gain so much more in your voice. So yeah, I think it's really fun and empowering to be able to like give those tools to other singers. If you listen to the music I make, you might think, this singer only knows how to sing pretty and light and sweet. But that's what I choose to do in my songs because that's what feels good. I can also belt and I can also, have a lot of power in my voice. It's just not the types of songs I tend to write.
Yeah, and it's not the vibe. Like, it's not the mood you're putting out there. It would sound weird.
It's like, I'm not a loud person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So what does your, gosh, I have like 3 questions in my brain at the same time. Let's go one by one. What does your voice regimen look like at the moment, if you have one?
I vocalize daily.
What's your prize?
Yeah. Usually between 10 to 15 minutes it's not that I never take a day off, but not usually. I usually touch the low end and the high end of my voice and try to find balance and a medium volume, medium effort throughout the whole of my voice. So it'll involve some sort of SOVT, which stands for semi-occluded vocal tract exercise, where you're stopping the sound at your lips. So I love strophonation. I love, I'm very into the raspberry, which is like a, yeah.
I love that one.
I like a V, that kind of a sound. And then I'll open up into some more vowels or words that kind of help me connect more to my chest voice or my like speechy range, because I tend to talk very lightly, if you can't tell. So I will do something where I am connecting more and making more sound in my chest voice. And then I will also connect to my upper register, my high upper register, where I don't tend to speak very often. Some people call that flageolet. It's like the flute-like sound in your voice. And then I bring it all in the middle so that I can go from the low to the high to the low. It takes me about 10 minutes. The more I'm singing, the less I need to do because I'm in shape. It's when you take more breaks or long between breaks that you're like, oh, I feel rusty, or I don't know what my voice needs. And there are some exercises or some sounds that will work generally, but that's where having some sort of one-on-one training is helpful because I know what my voice needs. And so I can just do the things that get me there the fastest.
And you do that as a separate practice, like independently of whether you're going to record that day or if you're going to sing somewhere.
Correct. Yeah, it's just part of my routine. Although I may time it for that. And that I would say is like my maintenance. That's like going for a walk, getting my steps in. I'm just using my voice. And then there have been seasons where it's like, okay, I want to work on belting. So I'm going to add in a little bit of exercises that are sort of challenging me or leaning me that way. Or I'm going to work on my breath and like explore this part of my voice and like the function of my inhale or something. I get pretty nerdy with it, but it'll be like a little bonus.
Yeah, I'm so curious.
The music you're making, depends on what the music you're making calls for.
Right.
So if I suddenly am singing with Ingrid and I need to do a background vocal where I'm belting, well, then I need to prepare for that. I can't expect my voice will just do that if I haven't been spending time belting.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. I wish I was a fly on your shoulder when you practice your voice, because maybe that's just my experience with being a handstand coach previously and not being on top of my own handstand training. But I find it really hard to teach something and then also practice it myself when, like, if I'm teaching that thing. So I'm just curious if you have that experience at all.
I feel like teaching keeps me accountable in my voice. It's almost the opposite. I can get that in the physical practice of that. I've thought about that with yoga teachers, like, oh, you're going to teach 2 yoga classes today and then also do your own yoga at some point. Like, that's a lot of yoga in one
kind of don't. Like most I know don't. They just teach then.
Yeah. No, for me, I have to be able to demonstrate everything.
Right.
Good technique, bad technique. I work with singers who have way bigger voices than me or different style. And so I need to be able to do that in my own voice too. So it's like more like a nice peer pressure, you know? Like a nice, like, oh, I better be ready to sing this thing with that client. And I don't know necessarily what they need. So I'm just gonna cover all my bases.
Have yourself ready. Yeah. That sounds like a really good thing.
The thing about voice, though, is that it's not meant to be perfect. And vocalizing or warming up is like finding coordination. So I don't have a perfect voice. Nobody does.
What even is that?
I know. And my warm-ups, though, is what I say, like sometimes with vocal exercises, people want to do them right.
Right. Yeah.
So a part of the practice is that learning that this is more about listening to your body, like the way you would warm up for a workout and you go like, oh, my shoulder's sticky. It wasn't sticky yesterday. Okay, I better do some mobility with that before you lift heavy weights. Same thing with your voice. It's like I go into my warm up like before I'm singing a song because I want to see like what's happening in my voice today.
Kind of like a calibration to check in with where you're at.
Yeah.
That
makes it more dynamic than just like these are the exercises I have to do. So if I do a scale pattern and I'm like, ooh, that was a little wonky, I do it again. And maybe I have to repeat that today 3 or 4 times to find balance. And yesterday it felt good on the first take. Like it's helped me as a recovering perfectionist be more okay with not being perfect.
That is so good to hear that you have those variations in your voice, even as someone who's so experienced.
For sure.
Because the variety in my voice is so big from day to day, or like depending on how I feel. So you say that's normal.
You mean like how you feel emotionally or how you feel physically?
Physically. Like actually how the voice feels on the day and how accurate I am and how flexible I am. All of that is just, I guess, dependent on someone.
Very wildly different. What I would do is say, then look at your health habits, look at your sleep, look at your hydration.
There we go.
Look at your hormones, look at your allergies, any meds that you have.
Yeah.
And sort of see, can you see any patterns? Like, oh, on the days that I didn't get a lot of sleep, I know I might have to do like 5 or 10 more minutes of warm up because I'm going to feel a little out of it.
Yeah. Well, you know what did help? We recently got a air purifier just a couple of months ago, and it's been a game changer to sleep with that.
Yes. Sometimes for some people, it's like living in dry climates or something they're eating or just their own hormones. I will confess something. I have never really showed this to anyone. I think sometimes I'm just very sensitive to sound. I've always been this way. I don't always feel like making loud sounds because the way it just sounds so funny. The way it vibrates in my body is irritating to me. I'm very sensitive to sound. So you could do this with your hands, or I bought this expensive internet thing. And I will sing into it and it muffles my voice. So I can lean into louder sounds in a warm-up when I don't feel like yet making those loud sounds that I need to make.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Like you could even still do it like, you could do it like this.
I don't know about what this is really interesting.
Yeah. But like if I don't feel like making like I haven't really warmed up yet today. If I don't feel like going like na 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 na, I would go like it just muffles it. And then I can like lean in. Dude, that thing just sits right there.
That is interesting.
But that's because I've learned that about myself. Like some days I'm like, let me make all of the belty big sounds. And then other days I'm like, I just want everything to be quiet.
Yeah. But then you still want to do your vocal exercises.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, that's genius. Where did you get that?
This is called a belt box. And I got it on the internet.
We could just put a link to it in the description box.
It's expensive. I'm sure there's other versions that are affordable, including your hands, standing in the corner of a room. But I find it convenient.
Thanks for that. Can we talk just a little bit more about you and your plans, if you have any, with Allie Moss?
Yeah.
For your own songs.
So I have been writing a lot over the last few years. I've released a single or two. And I mean, there was a pandemic and that like kind of slowed down my ability to connect with producers. And then I just decided like, I'm going to learn how to do this production thing by myself. Deciding to call myself a producer, that felt like a very similar journey to calling myself a songwriter or an artist, where it was like a hat that I felt uncomfortable wearing and telling people I was doing that at first. But this past year has just sort of taken a turn in a happy way that like a couple people I've written with for their projects, I ended up building out the track of the song we were doing and they liked it. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll keep doing more of it. And then we're going to release those songs probably before I release music that I've produced for myself. There was a freedom, I think, in working on a song that I had co-written, so I was invested in it. I felt like I knew the artist, but it wasn't my own voice. And so once those 4 songs are done, my plan is to turn my attention back to my own songs and record an EP and really not try to drag my heels with it, but like just put it out.
Would you produce it yourself too?
Yeah, produce it myself, potentially co-produce a couple songs or bring in a few instrumentalists that I know will help me with the parts of the music that I can't play organically myself, but yeah, produce it myself. That feels crazy to say.
Well, it's wild because when I met you, you weren't really producing that much, or you had just started.
Yeah, it was a slow burn for me. I started in 2020, but it wasn't until 2023 that I realized like I know I need help.
Yeah.
I can't learn this on my own. So I've gotten external feedback and coaching, and that has leveled me up and given me confidence. The same way you were saying I helped you, I knew I needed help.
Yeah. I'm excited about your songs coming out then, both the ones you've co-written and the ones you're going to do for yourself.
Thank you. You know, there's a couple that need like 1 or 2 lines tweaked, and that sometimes can keep me from like finishing things when I realize like, oh, this lyric is not actually done, because that goes back to the thing I said earlier.
Yeah.
Being like at the core of it, I have to feel like the lyrics are right. So wish me luck.
I feel like that's part of the Allie Moss experience, you know? But then you get the really good songs. Like you get songs that are just, everything is just so neat. You know?
I do really love editing. That's, I think, part of my brain as an artist and a person that is maybe a little less typical of artists. Not completely, but I really love the editing part. For me, the challenge is the starting part. A lot of other people have the opposite. They write lots of things and they don't like the fine tuning and editing, but that's where we work well together.
I know, and we have. Yeah. Well, it's been a while now, but we have had our songs together.
Yeah. I feel like that's the other thing about like the journey of becoming an artist, is to be able to honestly assess yourself and say like, these are the parts that feel easy. These are the fun parts that feel like my strengths. And here's my weaknesses. And I either need to learn how to get help to get better at them myself, or I need to find collaborators who fill in those gaps. And there's nothing wrong with, I mean, there's always going to be like Jacob Collier's who seem like geniuses and just sort of do everything excellently. But I don't think that you need that to be successful. I think you can be really good at one part and then just surround yourself with people who are good at the other parts.
Yes. There is everything out there, isn't there? Like, no matter what part you enjoy or what part you're really good at, there's a way for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've been really helpful for me in learning that I don't have to do everything myself. And you've always been there by my side, which I so appreciate. I have one last question.
Okay.
And that is, what advice would you give any artist that is just starting out?
Write a lot of songs. You make a lot of tracks. Perform a lot. Whatever the element is that you're working on that you want to get better at, aim for quantity. Because in doing it more, you will get better. And try to hush that part of your brain that tells you everything has to be excellent right away. Because we all write just okay songs or even bad songs sometimes. But in the beginning, your taste is going to be so much more elevated than your skills. And so you just have to hush that part and say, like, I'm just going to write it and then write another thing and then write another thing. And there will be good in there.
I love that. That is so true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Allie.
Thanks for having me.
This was fun.
Great. This was fun.